and we're discussing FedEx today ahead of their earnings. Welcome to the show, Landon.
Hey guys, how we doing?
We're doing well. So what are you guys seeing as far as data goes on this company? It's well off its highs that we saw in the middle of 2018, and they've had some bumps in the road in the last couple earnings reports.
Yeah, the last earnings report, they sold off quite a bit. They actually kind of went against our data. So we had a bullish opportunity alert out on FedEx before earnings that went against us. It's since come back to that level, so no major harm. But what's really interesting, and this kind of highlights LikeFolio's, I guess, potential and some of its weaknesses, that they sold off on that last earnings report primarily based on European weakness. And so it's important to remember when we're looking at LikeFolio data, it's English speaking only. So we have a very good gauge on how well they're doing in the US, but as far as international, we may not get that data completely. So on this chart, we see the green line is our 90-day moving average of purchase intent. That's when people are talking about either shipping through FedEx or more commonly receiving something through FedEx. In other words, FedEx is their carrier for some kind of package. And so you can see that the holiday season this year is basically about the same as what we saw last year. And as you'd mentioned, the stock has sold off quite a bit. I know that was based on European weakness. They said the US was strong. That's what we had. That's what we're showing. But what's interesting is this quarter that's coming up is December through February. So the Black Friday shopping is already in last quarter, but the Christmas shipping information is coming in right now in this report that's about to come out. Another thing that we want to look at is happiness. This is, this is not the best looking chart as far as happiness goes. That top line, that sort of white line, is the number of people who have an opinion. What percentage of those are positive? And FedEx is sort of struggling. They've actually lost 1% over the last year, from 51 down to 50% happy, which is pretty low. It's right there with airlines. Interestingly enough, we don't have the chart, but UPS has gained 2% over the last year, from 60 to 62. So UPS's customers are happy at about a 62% rate, whereas FedEx are about a 50% rate. So all that together tells me that people are using FedEx more or as much as last year, so that maybe the stock sell-off is unwarranted, and we're a little bit bullish because of that. But then long-term wise, people are a little unhappy with FedEx. They're not nearly as happy as they are with UPS. So a little bit of a mixed signal from LikeFolio.
All right, Landon, I hate to beat this same drum here, but is this a case where if your experience with FedEx goes well, you don't say anything? You only say something if you're complaining. I hate to, because if you had a good experience with FedEx, would you write something that you had a good experience?
No. I would just expect it.
I agree 100%, but you guys don't see the data that we do. For whatever reason, people love to volunteer just about every aspect of their life. You would not normally say, hey, I'm going to McDonald's, but people do that on social media. It's just, for whatever reason, they love sharing that. But to your point, 50% happiness ratio does suggest that, half the time when people are talking about receiving a package from FedEx, they're talking in a negative way. So absolutely, I think you're more likely to tweet if you're unhappy, but it's nowhere near 100%. It's about 50%, and UPS is about 60%. So yeah, people are receiving just about as many packages this year as they were last year, according to our data. And again, that's English speaking only.
All right, for more on social media, let's bring in TD Ameritrade Network's own Jenny Horn. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, guys.
Did you get a lot of stuff shipped to you during the holidays?
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Unwilling
Ulta,
to commit to that?
Yes, possibly. And I wouldn't necessarily tweet if I had a bad experience. I had a lot of pleasant experiences. Maybe I'm an easy customer. But, and I have to say, I kind of disagree with Landon this morning. I saw a lot more positive noise about FedEx than UPS. So I don't know if that could have anything to do with the fact that they have earnings today, but a lot of positive noise on FedEx. They had good online sales this holiday season, and domestic business is continuing to be a bright spot for them. So I saw that on social media, but Landon looks at more trends over time. Take that into consideration. But our first tweet says, I like FedEx here, bought some in December and think it has firm support at 170. I believe 225 will be retested at some point this year. So could these earnings get us to this number, or do you think it'll be a sell-off similar to last quarter?
Well, I think it's all going to be keyed in on their TNT business, which is overseas in Europe. And just like Landon mentioned, they don't cover anything besides the domestic.
Right.
But that's been a real drag on them, and we've seen slower growth in Europe and in China. So Is it going to last one more quarter? I'm not sure. Estimates from this company have been lowered by analysts across the board, so you got to be wary of a move, probably spike higher. If they meet, beat, and maybe guide in line, that could be one of those catalysts where it props the stock.
I remember the CEO's conference call last quarter when he was talking about it was from Europe. Remember, and it was a European miss. And you're right, the stock sold off hard that day and that week, but has made it pretty much all the way back and closed that gap.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. Any meet or beat in earnings, and this stock goes sharply higher.
Yeah, because the momentum has turned down on this particular name, and the sentiment, I think, from the investor community has turned so negative.
Right.
Maybe you get one of those contrarian type numbers and it sends it higher. That could happen. But you've got something else for us. I don't know if it's a tweet, but something pretty interesting the team sent over.
I do, Landon. Instead of a tweet, we decided to show what you sent us, which is pretty funny. So this is what's kind of circulating social media today. So UPS, your package is in your city on a truck driven by Mike. It will arrive on your doorstep at 6:27 today. FedEx, your package is coming. You'll get it when we get there. USPS, what package? Amazon, we are already inside your apartment. Check the bathroom. And last but not least, Facebook, we know you were thinking about getting a toaster yesterday. Here are 20 ads for toaster ovens. So I love this because it's so true. I mean, this just cracks me up. Landon, what do you think about this? Because you sent this to us.
I love it. I think it kind of highlights the happiness thing on UPS. I mean, people love to have that kind of information. You know exactly where it is, when you're going to get it. And FedEx really needs to step up their game in regards to that. Jenny, to your point about disagreeing with me, I have to point out that we don't look at investor sentiment. So if you're looking at cash tags, what the investors are saying, bullish versus bearish, that's not what we're measuring. So we're looking at whether consumers are happy. FedEx looks like they're having a decent quarter purchase intent wise. And yes, the stock's up quite a bit since that last miss, but it's still down $50 year over year. So I agree with you, Kevin. I think that if they come in and say things are okay, there could be a little bit of a short squeeze or a little bit of a rally based on that. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Landon, real quickly, what message are we supposed to receive from what can only be described as an electric blue Kentucky Wildcat golf shirt you're wearing today? Anything you want to say?
Hey, I'm looking forward to the tournament. I can't wait. That's it.